All right, good morning. This is ticker symbol UPS. First trade of the day. Here we go. What is up? It is opening bell early in the morning, 6:32. Let me walk you through what I got set up here. Entered in at 97.68, right about there, right where it bounced from, of course. Always happens. Always happens to noob traders, you know? You know what I'm saying? Hey. All right. On a serious note, this gray shaded area, that's extended hours trading. I'm going to be turning that off here soon. Big gap down this morning, which creates for some very bearish momentum potentially, or even a bounce potentially. What I think is, so it broke through an extended hours trading bottom. So I feel like there's still a lot of potential for some more downside move. I'm going to be accumulating a little bit more into this position. Say right about now. Okay, so now my average price should be right more up here, 98. So there we go. There's my average price. It's right basically here at the line that it already broke. I think that there's still, like I said, some more downwards pressure. The reason I think that is because of the huge gap down to $4, 5% for the day. A lot of this came up on some scanners. A lot of eyes are on this. So I shorted into it. The more that it goes down, the more money we can potentially make from this transaction. I am now 400 shares short. I'm going to go ahead and take some of that off the table. I'm going to go ahead and turn extended hours trading off as well. There we go. So we can just see that big candle forming downwards. Still hitting hard down to the ground here. I'm going to go ahead and remove. There we go. Okay, so I am now down to made a mistake there. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to correct myself. I was going to remove pretty much all the risk off the table for me right there on that trade and only have 100 shares remaining. I started with 400, then I mitigated out. But when I went down to 200 to remove another 100, I accidentally added more to my position. So I just had to flip that off really quick. Didn't result in any loss or gain, really. Maybe a few buck loss there because it just kind of bumped up. But nothing too tragic. So now I'm short 100 shares at this green line. It is lower. That's nice. I am already in the green. Like I said, I still feel like there's downwards pressure. It looks like it's moving. But now it's not a question of whether or not I'm going to make any money from this trade. It is a question of how much can I make. And I love when this happens. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be having a stop loss kind of trail down each candle as it forms. Now, this sometimes could work out very well if we see some constant downwards pressure, and sometimes I can get stopped out pretty quickly. So my stop loss is really going to be just right above the VWAP at about 98.20%, let's say. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up. So now I might, I might get stopped out. I might not right now. But as these candles form, the high of the candle, so in two minutes now, wherever the high of this candle is, that's where I'm going to be moving my stop loss to. Or I'll keep it here depending on where it obviously finishes. But as the candles go lower and lower, if they do, hopefully, I will be moving my stop loss to the high, just above the high of each of those candles. Because once that breaks, then I'm just going to call myself out of this trade. I'm going to give it a little bit extra room to breathe because I would like to see, this last remaining 100 shares pick up some good profits. And if I see any big spike down, I might take a couple extra shares off the table. So I'm talking a lot. Let's go ahead and watch how this plays out. Okay, so I got stopped out there. Not a bad trade. $168 profit. Unfortunately, it looks like it came down and then started bouncing up. This has been happening with a lot of my trades. Eventually I'm going to catch one where the candles just keep on making lower highs, sorry. But lately it's just been like, okay, I make my profits and then I'm ready to start seeing how far we can trend downwards, and it just goes the opposite direction on me again. So kind of sucks. I was up around 260, but that last 100 shares pulled me back. So this trade resulted in $168 profit. Not too shabby at all. Okay, I am back here at UPS. So I was about to call it a day, but this candle formed quick on me. So I went ahead and entered back in to go short at 98.09, right about there. And it formed, the reason what I'm looking at right now is this inverted hammer. That is a tall tale sign of, weakness right there. Now, it doesn't mean that it always sticks to that, but it's a pretty bearish sign. So I'm going to go ahead and have my stop loss, give it some room to breathe here. And I'm going to scale in a little bit more. I did 200 shares over here. I'm going to go ahead and do another 200 because it's kind of extending upwards towards this top of this candle. And if I'm looking at the SPY, I'm looking at the SPY as well. And I also noticed that it formed a wolf candle. So it'd be very nice. The SPY has been trending sideways on the 5-minute time frame. It'd be nice if it broke down a little bit, because that would just give all the more, indication that we might see more of a pullback in some other stocks too, including UPS. Okay, so 98.36 is my new entry point. That's the average price there. So now we just got to see it drop down from this point. All right, let's see how this one plays out. So just letting this one play out. If you notice this area right here, as it came up, it acted as resistance right here, and then it did break through, and then it came down and tested this area again. It's doing it again over here. So this right here, this area is leading me to believe this could be a interesting level if it breaks it. If we can get confirmation of this break, which I would love, we'll see a pop to the downside. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this kind of like a marker to dash it out a little bit like that. Maybe make it a little bit thinner, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, let's go ahead and continue watching this play out. I just removed some of the profit off the table. I was short 400 shares. Now I'm only short 200. I want to see this move a little bit quicker. It's moving pretty slow. Well, I mean, if I'm fast forwarding, it probably looks like it's moving quick, but it's been moving kind of slow. There we go. There's a drop. I just removing another 100 off the table here. Almost done. The SPY, just so you know, the SPY, I was talking about how it was tracking sideways, and if it drops below, it did, and now it's running into the 8 SMA. Pretty big flush. So I would like to see the blue line that I'm talking about right down here, 97.74, go ahead and get flushed away too on my last remaining 100 shares. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can get some lower highs this time around to see if we can start moving the stop loss down. So it's not a question of how much can I make, it's a question of how much will I make this trade. I am in the green. I only have 100 shares remaining. Sometimes these last remaining shares could just make you that much more, or they'll just stop you out, which has been my case. So I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss actually down to this range right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually a little bit higher. Give it a little room to breathe. 98.84. Penny saves, penny earns. Now you might be thinking, well, why have a stop loss there? The top of this candle is right there. Well, I feel like this one's too tight, so this candle right here would be too tight. It's right by that 8 SMA, which I love using the 8 SMA when I'm shorting. Kind of, you can just walk, you can just have your stop loss above the 8 SMA and kind of just walk the price lower if it tends to do that. This candle right here is kind of the middle of these three, so I'm just above that. And my thought process is, if this candle breaks the high of this, I feel like it's going to test the highs of this and either just come up and stop me out anyway. So you might as well just have your stop loss right here, just to see how it goes. So we are coming up on that blue line. Will we see the flush? Let me stop talking so we can find out. So, gosh, once again, it doesn't look like it's going to be breaking. It looks like I'm going to be getting stopped out. Nothing's for certain right now, but man, I cannot catch a break to the downside that's significant enough to make a big difference in this trade. Or am I just talking, too soon? You don't know. But 98.83 is my stop loss. Kind of looks like it's heading that way. Sorry, 98.85 is my stop loss, and it kind of looks like it's heading that way. So I guess I spoke too soon. It looks like it's dropping again. Let's see if we can still get that flush. We need still a lot of downwards pressure, but you never know. It's at the VWAP right now. I'm going to take some off the table just because I want more profits. And I feel like I'm just going to get stopped out because that's always how it's been happening recently. So I'm just going to remove 30 shares from the table. I did 10 shares at a time. I'll be down to 70 shares. I'm just going to head and get out of this trade. The MACD is kind of curling over. It looks like it's not, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to be stuck here forever waiting to see if this will take place. I'm in the green. I'm in the profit. You know, I'm good to go. $258 for the day. I'm glad I made one more trade on this. I think that, yeah, it will potentially move lower, but as far as I see, I'm looking at the SPY and I'm looking at some other charts, and they're really just going sideways. So I'm going to call it a day. $258 profit. Hey, yo, whoa, not too shabby. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.